Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So we did it. We're into day two of the new emotional 3-2 6.5 day sequence. Now, in our previous 24-hour post, we really talked about high alert and especially for third person agitations. Now, I don't know about the rest of the world, but here in the United States, it was an eventful day in the third person. We had Supreme Court rulings, we had states doing all kinds of stuff that are causing controversy with our school systems, we had presidential debate. I mean, it's been nonstop, extending us and keeping us elevated and arguing and talking about the big picture exactly like we predicted it would do. And all of that was happening because of the elevated emotional set that's up here, okay? That capital E or macro E flipped into the larger perspective, and this thing is literally animating us, is what it's doing. All kinds of things that make our lives more stressful, okay? So that's why we're doing these predictions. We're trying to help you when these moments are coming, and we're just doing a little review here in previous 24 hours because it was very eventful. The other thing we talked about was this elevation and how all this agitation was going to create more weather events. Well, that happened too. At least in our country, I've been paying attention here and around the world. I guarantee weather's been very, very aggressive or fluctuating around this transitional point. So as weather systems move in and out, they're going to follow this electromagnetic sequence just like we follow it. And we have problems both in the third and first person perspectives here. Now, let's get into today's 24-hour period. That's where the white rectangle is here. And you can see our big worry today is first person perspective. Okay. So we really got to watch things today in our individual spheres here to make sure that we're not overreacting and that we're staying calm and collective as best we can. Right? Very, very important. So you can see now that this transition was nowhere near as powerful as what that solstice transition was in the previous 3-1 awareness. Now, do not underestimate this. Because of all that stress and tension that the first the 3-1 brought, and now you can see we've already got all kinds of big issues to talk about. And I'm sure people are going to be arguing about them or upset about them today. And let's try to stay as focused as we can here. All right. I think people are starting to understand. And if you're not, I'm going to keep repeating this. These agitation points or these polarity moments, they are trying to trick us. Our bodies are designed defensively, and if we let these polarity points agitate us from the inside out, it convinces us to run away from our problems or stand up and create more stress and conflict by fighting for our personal opinions. Now, the math that we're showing you here is not about anybody's opinion. This is just how this is designed and how we're connected to the design. We are expected to get along with every member of our family, whether it's in our bloodline, whether it's in our community, whether it's somebody that lives on the other side of the world from you. Now, if any family member in the larger picture isn't getting along, it's all the other family members' responsibility to help them work through that stress and bring this team dynamic back to a place where we can focus on balancing these four larger perspectives. Every member of our mathematical family is expected to invest equally in family, individual, world, and national routines. And I say this every time. It's obvious that we've overinvested in the individual and family routine because what that's done is it's allowed our national, our world routines to get out of balance. Meaning we're not putting as much time and effort here and seeing the bigger picture and seeing why this has to be balanced. Otherwise, this is going to become unbalanced too. And that's what you're seeing in our social norms here, where we're seeing these huge separations between wealth and poor. Or we're seeing some countries that are thriving and other countries that are failing. Okay. And I wouldn't say that any country is thriving right now because even the countries that are theoretically doing well, there's chaos going on within them. So what we have to do here is really come together, all the people of the world, and we got to start to understand what it is this whole mathematical simulation we're in is designed to do, which is to just teach us how to balance. But we can't balance unless we can overcome these polarity moments right here. These polarity moments are what's trying to stop us from balancing, and they're actually manipulating, and this is what's allowing us to do these predictions. I wanna say that a year from now, when we do these predictions, that when we say, "Hey, high alert, this is" it's not gonna happen to the same effect. It's happening that way now because we're unaware. When we become aware of this, we can minimize the social tension. We can minimize these catastrophic disasters that are happening at the environmental level. And as individuals, we can actually start to heal our bodies when we start to reinvest in our mathematical family and when we reinvest and diversify and balance our routines on a daily basis. That's where we need to go if we want this to get better. If we continue on the course we're on, promise you, the cyclical nature of this organized chaos is going to amplify until it's over. That's how that's going to work. All right. So let's get down here to this 24-hour period. So when we look at the 24-hour, what it's doing is it's zooming in day two, right? It's zooming in this area right here. And that allows us to align these times with it so we can make 24 of these for all 24 time zones. You can find your time zone. You'd find your time zone and snapshot this if you don't have good internet. And what that does is it aligns your times so you know when these peaks are going to happen. You'd want to know, for example, when these combined peaks are going to happen here. You can see there's going to be a ton of first person agitation as well as third person agitation is up and down pretty much all day. Now, 4 is the number we worry about, okay? So not so much in the first 12 hours. Actually, this 24-hour segment for third person is going to lay down a little bit. Now, does that mean there's nothing here? Oh, no. There's quite a bit going on, and yesterday was pretty eventful, so there's going to be some residual from that. Let that go, okay? Now, in first person, when we look at the first 12 hours, again, it's a little elevated. These two are coming together, though, so when we look at the combined, we're dancing near 4, coming back down, coming up to 4, so that's why we have the combined here, because you can't just shut it off. If you're having a bad day in third person, well, that's going to affect your third or your first person view. And if you're having a bad day in your general sphere, well, that's not going to make third person any better. So this combined effect is real. All right. Now, the second 12 hours is the one we really need to be concerned about for first person. You're going to want to stay as calm as possible. Definitely don't make things worse for yourself and your general sphere, people. All right, so that's enough about the alignments today. This again is not a super powerful day, but definitely you just want to pay attention. And as always, I recommend you come to our homepage. On our homepage, you can see the live feed. We've got a live feed set to universal time. It has a time bar that goes through this entire graph and shows you exactly where we are in the electromagnetic sequence. So if you start to get upset or agitated, you should reference it. And once you see, oh, this is predicted, you can overcome it. That's conscious awareness. That's willpower. It takes our willpower to overpower our defensive, destructive design. So that's simple. All right. So let's talk about alignments now. Now, today's kind of a big day in alignments. So we're going to have some MP alignments. We've got two of them here, and they are super strong, both on the space, first person, and time, third person perspectives. We have a 6 hour and a 12.25 hour alignment. Both of these alignments are going to affect lower quadrants. And while these two alignments are happening, this other alignment, the ME right here, it is also going to be affecting lower quadrants. So for the first 12 hours, highly likely that people are going to be feeling all kinds of stuff in the lower quadrants. And today, these are strong, okay? Very likely for people that they are going to notice the day does not go well. If you are out of balance with these perspectives, it is definitely going to be noticeable. It's not only going to affect how your body functions, but it's going to affect your experience as the day moves forward. Now, if you're in balance with these, this is a time where your body could actually amplify and be able to harness that power to heal. How? Well, if you're in frequency, right? So these are the frequencies that are going to test us today. And they're testing us in these different relationships. So each one of these colors or each one of these quadrants has a first person and third person relationship connected to it. And if you are doing well in these bottom ones right here, son, daughter, the individual and family, and they're balanced. You see, you could say, well, I'm doing awesome down here, but you could overbalance too. Okay. And overbalancing means that you do too much down here and not enough up here. So if you're doing just the right amount, it's Goldilocks. Okay. So if you've got Goldilocks going on, well, then your body will actually be in perfect harmony with these frequencies. And these frequencies can do a lot of good for your body. They could heal conditions. They could make you feel better. And they could definitely, you'll see it in your experiences where things just go smooth for you. If you're not, if your porridge is too hot or your porridge is too cold, this is the Goldilocks analogy, then you're going to have issues. And if you do, you're going to want to document when they happen because depending on where this is in this sequence and the other frequencies that are going on, we just pop in those times and we know exactly what to help you focus on to make sure when we get another strong test like this, that you don't have a bunch of amplified destructive interference happening. Destructive interference just means that you're advancing your aging and you're guaranteeing that things within your body are going to start to break down. And that's what creates the disease states that take away the quality at the end of our lives. We don't want you to have that happen. So, really pay attention today. I kind of did all the alignments in one fall swoop here because they're all going lower extremity. All right. All right, so let's talk about macro position now, because there's been some changes. The other thing that's going to happen today is we've got the M's changing out. Okay. So in the transition here between the emotional sets, the E moved, and then today, or actually yesterday, at the end, the M moved. Now, what does that mean? It just means the macros are parked in different places in the body, and look at how they're stacked up in the lower here. Holy smokes. So if I'm in practice, I always say this, really, really expect lower quadrant stuff. Now, we could have a little bit going on in the right upper and the left upper because this E or this M is a 7.5 day frequency and this E is a 6.5 day frequency. These are pretty strong. And in the second 12 hours, you see the P2 right here, that comes into the upper right. So in the second 12 hours today, very possible upper right. In the first 12 hours, I really expect people to really feel lower quadrants. That's not only because the testing sequence is high, but specifically because of these alignments. All right, that's pretty good for today. You've got at least an idea of what's coming. You definitely want to document if anything goes sideways or if you feel anything, that's how we're going to help you here in the beginning. All right. So as always, we've got the electromagnetic guides for the rest of the year already posted. This lets you look ahead in time and see when there's going to be all kinds of weather and social agitation so that you can be prepared for it. Or if you have to travel and be somewhere, you at least know because if you get into large groups of people, when these agitating moments are way up, very, very likely the chaos is going to ensue. And I don't think any of us like to be in the middle of chaos. In fact, I know we don't. So that in itself is worth the price of admission. Just knowing what's coming before it comes, that's going to allow us to start to prepare for this and make this better even faster. All right, down here is where we put our confirmation videos as always. And that's it for today, people. We're still focused on launching here, and that's what we're going to be really doing. And we'll continue to do these forecasts for you. We'll see you next time. Talk to you then.